Welcome back to Crazy Cool Crochet. In this project we are working on a summer top, crochet summer top, and I'm using this lightweight number 3 Baby Bee Sweet Delight yarn. The color is called Splash. However, it looks very much like an aqua. And we are also using an H hook or a 5.00 millimeter. And this will be very, very beginner friendly. So crochet beginners, this is going to be a perfect top for you. It might be your first, and I really think you'll be able to handle it if it is your first. This is done in 2 identical panels, and it will be attached on the sides and along the center with a long V-neck. Or you can make it however short or long you want. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start with a chain of 157, 157, and this will be for a size small. Now if you need a different size, I will go ahead and leave a lot more detail in the description area down below. You might have to open up where it says see more. So we'll go ahead and chain 157. If you need help with the beginner stitches, I will, as usual, leave a little white box up above, and that will take you, click on that little box and it will take you to the beginner series tutorials. All right, now that we've got our chain of 157, we are going to do 3 rows of single crochet. So you're going to start with single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So there's the first one, looks really teeny tiny, and there's the second one. So you start in the second one from the hook. Okay, so insert into the chain. Pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, pull the yarn through both loops, and that's a single crochet. So just continue this all the way across. You will end up with 156 single crochets. For those of you who are experienced, you can just keep right on going. At the end of this first row, chain 1, turn, continue with the 156 single crochets for 2 more rows. Okay, we are at the end of that first row of single crochets. Going to enter the last single crochet into the last chain. Now be careful because sometimes it's really tiny. So what you're doing is, of course, counting your single crochets to make sure you're on the right count. So this will be 156. I'm going to squeeze that in there. And then chain 1, turn the work, enter the first single crochet into that first space, and then a single crochet in each stitch across. And we are entering under that 2-strand chain that forms at the top. When you enter a stitch, it creates a chain, or a stitch that looks like a chain up at the top. So you enter the hook under those 2 strands. All right, so continue with your single crochets for another 156. You stay on the same count. When you get to the end, repeat what we just did, chain 1, turn, and then another row of single crochets for 156 again. While we are working on this row of single crochets, I want to remind you, as I always do in all my videos, make sure you watch this all the way through before you start. This is because I sometimes think of a tip or a suggestion along the way that might have helped you at the beginning. So go ahead and watch the whole thing first before you start. Now, if you hear me say that all the time, I'm sorry about repeating myself, but there are those for whom this might be the first video that you're watching of mine. If that's the case, then I really encourage you to check out all the rest of my videos. I've got some really cool, crazy cool. Yeah, that's the name of the channel, Crazy Cool Crochet. I've got some really crazy cool designs out there. Covers everything from, clothing, garments, to children's items, baby items, and really, really nice home decor. So be sure to check it out. And to get to those videos, once again, below where it says Crazy Cool Crochet, the name of my channel, click on that. It will take you to all the rest of my videos. Now, aside from these tutorials, I also show you how you can earn a full-time income from your crochet. Full-time income, really. And I don't mean selling onesie-twosie items. I don't mean selling, a hat and scarves at a church bazaar. I'm talking about setting up a full-on crochet business without having to sell what I call onesie-twosies. You're not selling an item here and an item there. This is a full-on business. So if you're interested in that, again, check out those videos. I will also leave a link to crazycoolcrochet.com where I show you step by step with lots of posts and articles and showing you exactly how I'm doing this, how a lot of other crocheters have set up this kind of a full-time business. So there's all kinds of different ways of creating multiple streams of crochet income. Check it out. Okay, we're about to enter the last single crochet of that third row. Chain one, turn. And now we'll do something a little bit more fun. All those single crochets can get kind of boring. Okay, so now we are going to enter 3 single crochets. It's okay, only 3. 1, start in the first space, 2, 3, and then chain 2. And then skip the next 2 spaces below, enter a single crochet in the next space, and a second one in the next space, and then chain 2. Okay, so see what we've done there? 3 single crochets in the first 3, chain 2, skip 2 spaces, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2 spaces, enter a single crochet in the next space, another single crochet in the next space, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, and that's it till you get to the end. Okay, skip 2, 2 singles, skip 2, 2 singles. Don't forget your 2 chains. Okay, so that happens, or you do that all the way across to the last 3 spaces. But I'll do that with you, and then we'll enter 3 single crochets on the last 3. So you've got 3 at the end, 3 at the beginning. Okay, we are at the last 5 spaces. So we've got our chain 2. We're going to skip 2. And now we will enter a single crochet in the last 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, turn. Now we will enter 3 single crochets at the beginning of the row, starting in the first space. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. And then enter single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. Okay, so enter right into this space here, single crochet, and then into the single crochet next to it. Chain 2, single crochet into the next single crochet, another one into the next one, chain 2, and continue across just like that. Okay, so you're going to have the chain over the chain, and then the 2 single crochets in the 2 single crochets below. And again, watch for that 2 strand chain at the top. That's where you're entering your hook. Chain 2, and continue. Okay, I wanted to show you how this is going to play out. Okay, the reason, which I should have explained at the beginning, so like I said, watch the videos all the way through before you start. Okay, so the reason you start with 157 chains and we've got 156 stitches going across, it's so long because when you fold this in half, okay, there's the fold. There's the bottom. It's so hard to show you. It doesn't quite fit on the screen, but this is the shoulder right here. Okay. And then this is the front and the back. Okay, so we're working horizontally, but you're going to wear it vertically. All right, we're at the end of that second row. Did our chain 2. Now we will enter the single crochet in the last 3. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, turn, and repeat. 3 singles in those first 3 singles. Chain 2, single in the next single, single in the next single, chain 2, and keep going across. Now you will do that for a total of 4 rows of the singles and the chains. Okay, so the entire pattern will be 3 rows of single crochets, like we did at the beginning, 4 rows of the chains and the singles, and then 3 rows of single crochet, 4 rows of the chains and the singles. Okay, we finished the 4th row of the singles and the chains, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. So you might have caught on that we do the chain 1 and turn at the end of each row. Okay, now we are going to go back to the 3 rows of single crochet. Okay, so again, start in the first space, single crochet. So that was 3 single crochets in the first 3. Now we're going to enter 2 single crochets in each of those chain 2 spaces. And then a single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space. and then continue that all the way across. And this will give you that count of 156. When you get to the end of the row, once again, chain 1 and turn, and then do 2 more rows of single crochets. Now at the end of that 3rd row of the single crochets, chain 1, turn, and now we'll do the 4 rows of the single crochets and the chains. Now we're going to start with the 3 single crochets, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next single crochet, another single crochet in the next single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next single crochet in the next single crochet. Okay, so now skip 2, 2 single crochets, skip 2, 2 single crochets, just like you did before. So just repeat that pattern. You're going to do 4 of those rows, and then again the 3 rows of the single crochets. Okay, at the end of the last row of the single crochets, we're going to cut off the yarn. So do 2 chains, leave a good sized tail, and then pull it through, tighten those chains, it creates a nice knot. Okay, that's it. Okay, we are done with the panel, and for a size extra small to small, this required 6 of the 3 row sets of the single crochet and 4 sets of the 4 rows of the single crochets and chains. So 6 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We ended with the single crochet rows, and then 4 of the spaced rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 sets of the 4 rows. Hope that makes sense. And of course we made 2 identical panels, and I made this so that it would fit me, and it fits me to about my hip bone. If you can make this longer, I will leave instructions for the length of the starting chain in the description below. Also, you can make this wider. I made it so that it's not real wide, not baggy. If that's your preference, you can absolutely make this wider very simply by continuing with the rows. But this is very, very forgiving and very customizable. You can also use, I'm usually very particular about what yarns to use with my designs, but with this particular one, you can use pretty much any sport weight number 3 that you like. You can make it with a number 4. Of course, it will be thicker. The next thing we are going to do is attach the panels. All right, now, to put the panels together, we are going to lay them on the table, just so you can see, wrong side up. Okay, so these are both laying wrong side up. Now, the way you can tell which is the right side and the wrong side, generally speaking, the tail from the starting row would be on your left. You started crocheting this way. So this would be the right side. So you are going to seam these wrong side up. Okay, so that you've got the two panels together. Okay, so you've got the right sides touching each other, wrong sides are up. Now, this is where you can customize it further. For the center closure, you can go as far up the seam as you want the neck opening to be. So for myself, I put this up against myself and I decided I liked the neck opening at about 12.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, so count, or use your measuring tape. Go 12.5 inches, and that's where you will end your seam, front and back. Of course, you can do the back shorter if you like. Okay, now to seam the two panels together, take a tapestry needle or a yarn needle and a length of yarn. Start at the bottom corner on both panels, of course. Now I like to tie this for a more secure closure. Now I am going to only go through one strand on each side. And you use a whip stitch. Just want to get those little tails out of the way. That's all you need to do. Go up as far as you decided you wanted to. Okay, when you have gotten the seam as long as you want, just go ahead and tie it off. Again, I like to knot it just a little bit and then go through a few more strands. And then knot it again. If you've seen my other videos, you know I'm one for knots. I prefer to have what I think is more of a secure closure with knots. A lot of people don't like knots at all. So you can use whatever method you prefer. Cut it off. Okay, now for the sides, okay, you still have the panels, right sides together. Okay, now again, your preference as to what size arm opening you prefer. I don't like a real wide arm opening. I am making my armhole about 6 inches wide, which would take me from the bottom, where I would start the seam, to about 13 inches. and that will give me the armhole opening that I prefer. Again, you can do whatever you want. You can sew it up not quite as high and have a bigger opening, and do it exactly the same way, the seaming, as you did for the center. And then, of course, do the other side and the center back. And that will be the end of it. Then you'll be all done. Let's go ahead and finish up. And as I'm seaming up the sides, I wanted to give a little more detail on how to get a really nice finish on this. So for this one, I did say previously I was only taking one strand, but what I wanted to give more detail on is I'm taking the outside strand. Okay, so there's a 2-strand chain I'm talking about on the one panel. I'm doing the outside strand of each chain. Okay, so there's the inside, there's the outside. So I'm taking the outside strands and joining those. There's the outside, there's the outside. And let me show you why I'm doing it that way. Okay, so when you turn this right side out, it looks seamless. So you've got that same little ridge in the center right here. Okay, if you did both strands, it would be closed up completely. And it would be a different look, which is no big deal. But I just kind of like this look here, with that little ridge in the center. Okay, now let's go over what to do with these tails. If you're a beginner, you might be wondering, how do I hide these? Okay, so we're still working inside out. We're on the wrong side. Now, there's different ways to handle this. For me, the easiest thing to do is not necessarily the prettiest, but you just take your tails, take your hook under a strand, just a single strand, take the tails, pull them through, and depending on the length of the tail, pull them through a few strands. I like to get it far away from the edge. And then, if there's 2 tails, I knot them, of course. And there is your completed top. Of course, it always looks so much nicer on you than on the table. You can see that the stitches are absolutely adorable when you're looking at them vertically. Really unique, really nice. So put it on and you are going to love this one. Thanks for watching.